retard and retarded. And so I wanted to educate you about it. If we're going to use it, which hopefully we won't. So why are we doing this? This is a word that I hear way too much, and I don't think people actually know what it means or why you use it. So I'm going to let you know what it's all about. Not only is it offensive to myself and Ms. Phyllis, but it's offensive to a large population of people in the world, and maybe even some of you. Hopefully so. When you use those words, it makes you sound very uneducated. Maybe not amongst your peers, but in the grand scheme, you sound pretty bad when you use those words. And also, Ms. Phyllis and I have decided to create a zero tolerance policy. So when we hear this word, we are going to have consequences for it, which we haven't, I don't think, come to yet.
We need to define the terms.
Okay.
Set the parameters.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's TBD, I guess. Okay. So the word retard and retarded actually comes from the late 1800s. It was a word that was used in the medical field to diagnose people with lower IQs or developmental delays. And so it's a word that they used to use in hospitals and psych wards and places like that to kind of group together people who had learning differences or, whatever type of difference. And it was a very broad term. And now we use it kind of as a slang term. But in 2010, President Obama actually passed a law called Rosa's Law. And Rosa is a little girl with Down syndrome. She's 10 years old, or she was 10 years old at the time. I guess she's probably about 14 now. Or actually 16. Yeah, 2010. 16. But anyways, in school she was being bullied. A lot of her peers were calling her retarded. And that was really bothersome to her family. And even some of the school personnel were writing the word retard and retarded on her paperwork within the school system. So her parents decided to start this movement to have those words removed from legal documentation. And then along the line, President Obama actually passed that law, and so now you won't see those words used anywhere, essentially, in written form. So that's pretty cool. So here's some things that I hear really often, sometimes in class, sometimes in the hall. That's so retarded, you are so retarded, this is retarded, he retarded, she retarded, we retarded, they retarded, tard. So yeah, what you probably meant to say, and what you'll hopefully say now, I don't like this, this is silly, this is lame, he had a lapse of judgment, she was momentarily irresponsible, and gee whiz, that was dumb.
Gee whiz.
So yeah, I mean that's kind of funny, and I kind of did that to be a little bit funny. But there are so many other ways you can say what you probably mean to say. Because when you say retarded, or when someone else says retarded, what do they probably mean? Stupid, dumb, lame. When someone does something and you're like, oh my gosh, that was so dumb. A lot of times instead of dumb, you say retarded. And so here's some more educated words that you could use. Naive, trivial, irrational, ludicrous.
Oh, yeah, ludicrous the rapper.
Not ludicrous the rapper. Impulsive, reckless. Yeah, so I mean, it probably sounds funny to you now, but these words, you would sound so much smarter if you said this. And it's so much more acceptable because you're not categorizing a large chunk of the population, and whether you mean to or not, you really are offending a huge group of people. And so try to consider that the next time you hear that word. What actually do I mean, and is this what I'm trying to say? Are you trying to say that someone has a low IQ? Are you trying to say that someone has a mental disability? Probably not. Okay? What comments and questions do you have?
This is kind of awkward.
Why is it awkward?
Because we use this term like so many times.
Yeah.
I've heard this at least like 25 times today.
You probably have, and I have too.
call something gay when we actually mean that we just don't like it or we're uncomfortable with it. So y'all need to take a second and consider the ways that you might individually use these terms and not try to pass this off on someone else. Take ownership of your own behavior and language.
Well, I guess there's a slight difference between. Yeah. I guess you mean the correlation of like how people like use gay super loosely, and how people use like retarded super loosely. But I guess it's kind of different because like when people like say like, oh, that's so gay, they could literally mean like 1,000 different things when they say that. But I feel like if I'm like, oh, hey Jacob, you're retarded, then I mean like, Jacob, you're of low IQ. Like, you know, like I guess there's a slight difference.
But ultimately, the same thing comes back to trying to show something as being less by using a term that you're using that term in a derogatory sense when it could in fact be related to a person's identity. And so thereby you are offending a person who might identify in that particular way. So no matter the range of the context, it's inappropriate.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I don't think anybody identifies themselves as retarded. But I'm just saying that, like, I agree.
Well, no, not anymore, but at one point
They were labeled
they
that
were
way.
labeled as retarded.
Yeah,
That was
they
the
don't
legal
identify
term for it.
themselves as retarded. Like, if I had autism,
At
I
some
probably would say
point
I'm
they did,
retarded.
though.
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
that was the term
Yeah.
that was used for it.
but what I'm saying is like, yeah, they were labeled as that, but like as a person nowadays, like, if I was say autistic, I don't think I would say, oh, I'm retarded. Like, you know, I don't think.
But at one point they did. is
Well,
what
yeah, I'm saying, yeah, at one point they did. I'm just saying
Colby,
nowadays. They don't.
you're just going around.
Well, no, and that's what I'm trying to show you too. It's a completely outdated term. Like, none of you are medical doctors, and even if you were, medical doctors don't use it anymore. So, the fact that it still exists as only a derogatory term is kind of, it blows my mind because it's like, well, why are we hanging on to this word that everybody in the professional world has let go?
I don't say it anymore. I just say it's stupid.
Well, yeah, and like, I'm not trying to point fingers at this class. I'm just talking about, as a whole, think about the effect that you could have on your group of friends, and then that could keep expanding into the school. Like if David hears it from his friend and he says, I don't use that word, and then his friend stops using that word, imagine how quickly that could ripple out.
I start using that word.
I'm not using it.
I got my that's something that's
A lot of people, you'd be surprised how often I hear it.
I'm not saying I'm not but that's something that
Sounds weird when I say it. I'm not gonna get it out very easily.
Y'all, but here's the deal.
I said that a lot.
The issue is that we hear it. Miss Cannon and I would not be bothered by it if we didn't hear it on a regular basis. So again, maybe it's not this particular word, but let's think about the goal of what we're trying to help you all understand. Let's be really specific in our language so that we're not inadvertently offending other people.
wow, they're clapping it like they're right.
Well, okay, question. 'Cause, you know, we're talking about question stuff. Is this like, okay. Is this like a school thing or is this like a class thing?
Yeah, like
It's not like I'm not saying that. Oh,
yeah.
if I use the word retarded outside this classroom, asking is this like a thing everybody else is doing or is this you guys?
This is a thing we felt strongly about.
Okay, so this is like you guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we
That's-
see it.
What
We've seen
I'm
it
not
as an
encouraging is for you not to use it here and then go on the
Well,
whole.
no, that's what I was trying to say is that's not what I mean by that. I'm just wondering if anybody else is like doing this.
Hopefully it'll catch on. I mean, I think it will.
Miss Cannon created this presentation. I mean, like, this is something that we felt strongly enough about that we decided we needed to address it.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, see, a lot of things that people have done from this figuring out. Some will be harder to take out. Let's see.
Yeah, but how do we start to take those out? We have to talk about it. We have to talk about why it's a problem. It's a first step.
Hey, you know, at the end of the day, words are words. You know.
And they're ridiculously powerful.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Does it affect you in yourself? Maybe not, but.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure it affects other people. That's
So
like
kinda
there's
like
no point in that.
refers all back to bullying, pretty much. I think it is definitely a form of bullying, maybe inadvertently. I don't think you're doing it intentionally to offend others.
I would say it's bullying, then I would say it's accidental, like, offending. Like, cause if I called, like, somebody retarded and they were retarded and a special needs person or somebody of, like, that matter, like heard me and were offended by that, that's not me bullying them.
But
It's not
now
me-
that I've told you that it offends me, I will consider it bullying if I hear you say it.
Well, technically,
okay, yeah, that's fine. But I'm saying is I'm technically not bullying anybody by saying that. So I'm like.
Right, but if I tell you it bothers me and you continue to do it.
yeah. Kobe, you're
I'm
just
not
going
saying.
around
Okay,
in a
yes,
giant
that's
circle.
true. That's true. But if you said that, and then I continued to say, I'm not.
That's always.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying is if you said that, and then I continue to do it, then yes, I would be bullying you. But when I'm saying it to a person who like doesn't care, and I'm using it towards them and not anybody else, and a person just so happens to hear me, that's technically not bullying.
Why wouldn't you just use another word?
Well, yeah, I mean,
It's bullying.
So nobody's
Yeah.
saying.
I'm not saying, I'm not trying to offend it. I'm not trying to offend this at all. I'm just saying I wouldn't call that bullying.
Okay, well, we've gotten really away from the point of this. I'm not trying to point a finger at anyone and say that you're bullying, and I understand the point that you're bringing up, but my argument is just pick a different word. That doesn't, that isn't a label used for actual group of people. Well, I just showed you all kinds of words.
No, Parker, that's not the point. The point is not to come up with some other random way to express something. It's to talk about what's really going on.
I appreciate those of you that are, being respectful and taking this seriously. Thanks. Those of you that are probably still going to use this, oh well. Shame on you. Don't use it in here.
Alright, grab your notebooks.
Can I go to my locker?
Nope, you still have
Can I just read this? Why don't we all?
I really don't want to. Is it on? Yeah.
Page 29. Definitely said notebooks. Everybody else in the class definitely heard me correctly.
I heard Dawn.